Is your boss so toxic that you're thinking of leaving your job, and maybe it's even a job that you really like? We've all been there. I'm Jeff LaSalle, I'm your leadership coach, and today I'm going to talk about this situation, and yes, I've been there too. I'm going to give you 4 tips to think about before you make that decision. Tip number 1, who are you working with? You don't want to leave this decision to chance. You don't want to leave it to your emotional reaction. You want to make sure you're making the best decision for you that you possibly can. The way to do that is to work with somebody who's really going to challenge you. This could be a professional coach. It could be a former boss who you really respected. It could be a peer. But whoever it is, you need to be careful that they're there to help you and not just sympathize with you. So the problem here is that most people at some point in the past have had a boss that they really disliked. And so as you tell your story and your perspective, they're going to be shading in the picture with their own experiences. This is not what you need. You don't need sympathy. What you need is empathy. You need somebody who's going to sit there and empathetically listen to everything you have to say as you fully paint the picture of your current situation. What's your perspective? What are your feelings about this? What are some of the events that have transpired, again, from your perspective? They need to be listening to this fully and not interpreting it through their own lens and their own opinions and own experiences. So choose the right coach. If you haven't found somebody who can do that for you, find a different person who can do that for you. It's that important. Now, once you have the right coach, then the coach can, once they've fully listened to you and fully understand your perspective and your feelings to the point that they can repeat it back to you almost like it's you talking, then they can help really with option sorting and option prioritizing, defining consequences of decisions, maybe holding a mirror up to you so that you see how your perspective might be shading your options. So they can help you through this decision process. And maybe what you'll find is things aren't really as bad as you thought. Maybe it's something in your past that has you very sensitive to a certain topic, or maybe it truly is bad. But maybe your boss doesn't realize the impact their behavior is having. So there may be things that can be done here to salvage the current situation. Anything from changing your perspective to one that maybe more accurately reflects the situation, or changing your boss's behavior through a very carefully selected path and executed path to make the situation better. Those are options. They don't always apply. So sometimes you're left with the situation that, I've considered all of that and I really do need to leave. I've considered it carefully and I really do need to leave. If that's the case, then think about first what type of option would retain some of your current benefits rather than throwing everything out at once. So for example, can you switch departments? Can you switch shifts? Can you switch within the organization to a different boss, maybe even a different functional area where your boss doesn't have influence? This would have the benefit of retaining your professional network, your influence, maybe your seniority. So these are things that are important to consider. The bigger the organization is, the more likely it is there's something within the organization that you could try to switch to. Now, if that isn't going to work and you really need to leave the organization, this is obviously a much more serious situation. And the next question you need to ask yourself is, when do I need to leave? Is it really as bad as I need to leave right now? Or do you have some time? If you have some time, then you want to absolutely make sure that what you're leaving for is a step towards your career path. It's a step in the right direction, a step towards something, as opposed to running away from your current situation. And believe me, when you go interview for jobs, the person sitting across the table from you is going to be able to tell whether or not you're just simply running away from something. And if you can't really enunciate why you want that job, you're going to struggle with coming up with a compelling reason for them to hire you. So if you have the time, make sure that you're running towards something, not away from something. So there you have it. Those are the 4 tips that I have for you today. If you're in the unfortunate boat of really having a toxic boss, yeah, there's sympathy. Understand we've all been there at one time or another. But what you really need is a good coach who can empathize and help you problem solve, sort your options, and come up with what the right answer is for you. In the end, changing jobs is risky. There are going to be consequences of this decision. So the only person who can really make the final decision is you, and you're the one who's going to, unfortunately, suffer or reap the benefits and the consequences of that decision. So make sure you choose the right coach who is in your corner. If you would please be so kind as to hit the like button and the subscribe button, we'll keep the videos coming.